guttered.
The light heavyweight championship of the world. Between, from Great Britain, the champion, John Conteh, and the challenger, Alvaro Lopez, from America.
So welcome to Copenhagen at ringside, and I think there's some butterflies turning there surely in the world champion's stomach there. Having been out for 14 months inactive, he's wondering now whether that cracked hand that's been cracked twice actually will stand up to it. And watching him is former light heavyweight champion of the world there, Bob Foster. So you're with us as it happens in round one. And Conteh obviously hoping to shake a lot of that ring rust out now, but in tremendous condition. 12 stone, 6 1/4 pounds. Lopez, 12 stone, 5. Lopez in training has shown that he flicks this left hand out, and Lopez trying to keep the champion at bay with it, so it's up to Conteh to duck and dive and get inside the punches. And remember, when you're scoring, that the blows should be delivered with the knuckle part of the glove onto the target areas. So blows around the sides and arms do not really count. Lopez never been knocked out or stopped in 35 fights. And Conteh obviously got to find that punch timing, but he hasn't used that right hand yet. He's saving that a bit. Just a feeling punch with the right hand, a short one. He's been practicing that in the gymnasium, I notice. Doesn't put the knockout punch into every right hand shot, but hurts with them. Sensible reconnaissance first round then for the world champion. Needs to box himself into shape, as they say in the professional game, and to get his distance. We don't quite know the punch strength of Lopez yet. He stopped 17 opponents. As we come up then for the countdown for the first round, and the first solid punch, I would have thought, coming from Conteh with that left hook. Well, there's no question that champion Conteh here, pleased to get that first round over. Been waiting 14 months to throw a punch for pay. It must have been a very worrying time. He's had legal problems apart from having his hand broken twice. Coming up for round two, and Conteh a little early for work and anxious, and that's a good sign. Both tried to claim the center of the ring there, gives them more maneuverability. And they're pitting brains as much as punch at the moment. I'd expected this American-Mexican, he has dual citizenship, to be moving around the ring a bit faster than this. He showed that in training, but he's anxious to stand and trade with Conteh, knowing that if you're going to take the championship, you've really got to go in and get it. It looks to me as though Conteh has picked a sensible neutral site for his second defence of this championship. Ken Buchanan never had that option. He was always in the Lions' Den, because the Danes are keen and very fair fight fans. It's very civilised here at ringside compared to the seat we had last week reporting the Ali Norton fight at Yankee Stadium in New York. That was bedlam with people stepping all over us, but it's all part of the big fight scene, and I suppose anything beats a seat at the office. This has often been the pattern of Conteh's fights. Takes a round or two to find his distance, to get a bit more spite into his punches. This happened, if you remember, in his defence against the American Lonnie Bennett, and then he caught up with Bennett. This is a good aggressive fighter, this challenger, and he's trying to time that right hand as Conteh moves into him. Countdown at the end of the second round. Of course, if either boxer's knocked down, the count would continue after the bell in every round except the last, which is scheduled for 15. And some slow motion coming up in a minute in that second round. Notice Lopez dropping his left hand there rather defiantly, and Conteh having to grip hard on that gum shield. The only protection allowed for a boxer above the waist. It was invented, in fact, by the great Ted Kid Lewis. So round 3, and a rather weak bell here, so if there's a flurry of punches and the crowd are roaring, we're going to have trouble hearing that. For the uninitiated, a World Championship scheduled for 15 rounds. Intelligent boxing, seems to me, by both champion and challenger. Not expending too much energy, both trying to pave their way in and seek the openings. And I like the way they're standing almost toe-to-toe. The amateurs tend to dart around the ring and get too much daylight between them. Well, and this is the unquestionable match of the day and night, because you can't top a World Championship, and with no First Division soccer on the box tonight, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy Hill walking in here. Well, as close as I am to the ringside here, honestly, you can almost hear their brains working. Lopez's didn't work too well there because he caught that left hook. And obviously that's the way that Conteh hoped to win. He's improved that left hand considerably since he's had to nurse the right hand punch. And they're really starting to warm up now in this round, both putting their punches together a bit faster and a bit harder. Well, Lopez takes a good punch. I think we're soon going to find out. And they're saying in Conteh's corner to keep it cool. This is the pattern that they were hoping for as we come up on the countdown now to the end of the third round. and it's looking good for Conteh, and we'll be back in a minute. So welcome back then. Start of round 4, with Conteh now just pushing himself ahead. He's had the more solid punches in the previous round there. He doubled up with those left hooks very well, and everything's really calm and collected there in his corner. He sat in there without saying a word to his seconds, though he was just dismissing the office cares. But this fellow Lopez, not to be treated lightly, has been known to be put down and come back to win, get off the floor and win. Comes out of the tough fight town, Stockton, California. When Conteh doubles up and really puts some combination of punches together, he does look the world champion. Well, despite having tasted those left hooks from Conteh, I must say the challenger doesn't look too disturbed. He's got a bit of a leathery face there. I think he's taken a few punches in his time. Really has that lean and hungry look, the challenger, an ex-farm hand who didn't even lace on a glove until he was 18. Both now 25. In fact, Lopez is just 1 week older. Minute to go in this round now. And Conteh speeding up that left-hand jab a bit. But Lopez meeting him punch for punch. He's not backing off. And a good right hand there from Lopez. That's the first time he's put that one in. Some of the tough stuff now coming to play here. They've sorted each other out fairly well. Each knows what the other can do as we count up to the last 10 in this round. Well, I wonder what they're saying now in Conteh's corner. I wonder if I can just get up there and eavesdrop for a minute. How's things going in the corner there, George?
Yeah,
good round, wasn't it?
Just keeping nice and cool. We're just beginning to get in the stride now.
You happy with it too,
yeah,
John?
Terrific. Yeah,
well, John's looking in great shape anyway.
Yeah.
Just getting
ready with it.
So round 5, sort of quarter-mile stage here, and obviously not too much in it. If you're going to score on the quality of punch, then Conteh is just ahead. This challenger keeps prodding away with that left hand, and no doubt the German referee's taking good sight of that. Well, the game here is really to catch the opponent's eye and that of the referee and judges, if you can help it. The judges come from France and Italy. That right-hand punch of Lopez has lost its impact there by the time it caught Conteh on the face. A bit too long. No doubt in my mind at all that the Mexican-American can ship a bit of punishment, all right. He's used to the rough rides. He did predict this on World of Sport today, so this is going to be a tough fight either way. and at least hoping to maintain his record of not being stopped. No question about it, Conteh limiting the use of that right hand. When he lets it go, he wants it to really count. Doesn't want to waste it or catch Lopez on the top of the head and cause any further damage. Had to have a bone graft to harden that right hand up. And this is the first time that he's had the 8-ounce gloves on in 14 months. That's the way to pave it now. That's the way that Conteh's got to keep using that left hand to open up Lopez. They're working up now, both of them, to a better punch rhythm. As the countdown comes on the last 10 there for the 5th round. And John Conteh well on top of the bell at the 5th. So welcome back, and coming out for the 6th round with Conteh boxing well within himself, opening up now with that left hook, scoring the points as you would expect a world champion to do, and hoping to soften his man up, I would think, to try and stop him later on in the fight. That has been Conteh's patterns in the past, in the fights against Chris Finnegan, Lonnie Bennett, although he had to go 15 rounds to win the vacant world championship against Jorge Ahumada of Argentina. And watching at ringside and hoping to fight him will be the former champion, a great champion, Bob Foster of America. Conteh tried to set Lopez up for a punch now. Just the old-fashioned feint coming in there. Trying to make Lopez lead to him and then counter. Again, we see Conteh using that left hook over the top. I don't think Conteh was hurt with that. I think that was a stumble in the ring. This blue canvas, a little bit slippery. But no, he caught that one, and he just gets caught a bit square when he misses. When he mixes, he tends to get his feet caught square, and then the first counter punch that comes, he goes off balance. Conteh lost only one fight of 29, and that was a very disputed points decision to American Eddie Duncan on the Bob Foster Chris Finnegan show. Back. The 63-year-old referee from Germany staying close to the action and at the same time, so far, well away from it, not making too much of a nuisance of himself. Putting his chin out for those a bit, Conteh. He's getting caught with that right hand. And Lopez really drawing the champion out now. The best round so far. Lopez realizing he's got to put a lot more punches together. He's allowed Conteh to start sneaking the lead by the 6th round. So welcome back then for round 8. Past the halfway stage now in the light heavyweight championship of the world. A little bit of hesitancy in John Conteh's boxing tonight. And he certainly picked no mug as a challenger here. This fellow rose from obscurity there in Stockton, California, where he and the rest of his seconds of corner played bit parts in John Huston's film Fat City, to get himself up to the world #2 spot. And the #1 goes to Victor Galindez, who's claiming the rival WBA championship. I think Conteh will have to open up and mix it with Lopez now. Often wonder if Conteh really misses the British crowd to drive him on as he used to have at Wembley. And a switch to southpaw there by Lopez. He might have confused himself a bit more than he did Conteh. You don't often see that with a top-grade fighter. That means, of course, that they turn right hand and right foot forward. It's an American baseball expression. But Conteh allowing the pace to drop a bit here. I'm wondering at the end of this round if Kenny Buchanan agrees with that. He picked that right-hand punch well. Doesn't seem to have any trouble with the hand there. So with a minute to go in round 8, Conteh realising that he's got to double up his punches a bit. Well, the champion showed Lopez that punch, didn't he? Almost sent a telegram with it. But Lopez got the message. He can't put his head in the way. So the last 10 then of round 8. And at the bell we can hear from Ken Buchanan again. Round 9. There is a mental stress for a boxer who's broken his hand twice, wondering whether it will stand up to the rigours of a 15-round championship fight. Muhammad Ali's trainer, Angelo Dundee, was telling me that last week. He said, I think Conteh's going to be under a lot of mental stress there. He needs the win under his belt. Unusual shuffle there from Conteh, almost out of character, a touch of the Muhammad Ali's, but it didn't quite work. Quite rightly, the champion's corner calling for more left jabs, stepping up the punch rate. Well, one or two writers around the ringside here don't think there's too much in this contest. They've got Conteh ahead by maybe 1 round or 2, but that's all the general consensus of opinion that I can hear behind me here. Conteh really having too many slack periods in these rounds, isn't he? He's looking for punches, but just not doing enough. And Lopez is just plodding away there. I think that caused the arguments with the Ali Norton fight. Norton, in fact, was getting on with the job, while Ali was only doing his work in flurries, admittedly always catching the eye. And that was where the dispute came with the decision. So a quarter round for both, more to come, back in a minute. So welcome back then for round 10. And in the home straight, as it were, we're wondering how Conteh's going to get on now, because it's shown a little bit too much hesitancy for my part. And if they're both saving themselves for the run in, that's going to be quite a fight. The referee keeping well out of the picture there. Surprisingly, I think, not saying anything to them to spur them on a bit. Often British referees will be quietly urging them on. Lopez trying to match Conteh for the left jab and often succeeding there. Not too much of a hard hitter, I would have thought, Lopez, in this world class. And his record doesn't show that, but he's fought a few tough nuts in his time. And the last man that he defeated, Jesse Burnett, is very well feared in American rings. Well, it really is left for left there, isn't it? That's English taught boxing there. Good amateur stuff that he learned up at Kirby Club at Liverpool. What a great amateur John Conteh was, and the pity he didn't box in the Olympic Games. But he, of course, won the Commonwealth gold medal at Edinburgh. Well, Conteh riding that long right hand from the back of the hall than it does close up. But he's being urged by his family here at ringside, by the corner, Conteh, to really whip that left hook in. If he's saving the right, he's got to work with the left hand more. I'm assured by the seconds in the corner that Conteh does have no trouble with the right hand. He's not complaining at all. But he's certainly favouring it. So we come up now for round 11, with Lopez just having a little cut, a nick in the left eyebrow there. The American seconds were using the adrenaline pad in the corner there just to staunch the blood. It's very little. Conteh, of course, experienced over the 15-round course, and Lopez is not. He's only travelled to 12 rounds for the Californian state title. Conteh fought Chris Finnegan, and one of their two fights lasted 15, and Jorge Hamada went to 15. and a Commonwealth Championship against baby boy Rolly. Definitely a bit of fire missing, isn't there, with John Conteh? And it must be a worry, certainly for him and also for the people around him. His brother Tony, who's taking over more or less the managerial ranges around the ringside. But a good start there now. When he jabs away with that left hand, Conteh, he can't miss Lopez. Lopez got a cut above the left eye there. I didn't see any clash of heads causing that. A lot of Conteh's opponents do get cut. Lonnie Bennett did, Chris Finnegan did in a fight. But Lopez had apparently been cut in fights before on the corner of taking care of it. But it's obviously a handicap. It certainly doesn't help. It doesn't look too bad an injury, I must say. Just pulling on a bit there, Conteh, with the left hand. The referee, as Ken Buchanan said, taking no notice. To the end of the 11th round. So is this going to be unlucky for one, round 13? Conteh, boxing, as we said, well within himself, trying not to get too involved, trying to show his boxing class, and I suppose in some ways welcoming the experience of another 15 rounds after being out for 14 months, because there's a lot of challenges ahead of him. Foster, Galindez, possibly the middleweight champion Carlos Monzon. A little bit of puffing around Conteh's right eye there.
Come on, John.
Well, while we're watching this fight, let's have a word with trainer George Francis. How's it going, George?
Well, it's probably one of the toughest light heavyweight fights seen for years. The fellow, whatever you hit him with, still keeps coming back, you know. Every round he contests it. He's a very, very powerful, strong fella. The more you hit him,
John worried about the right hand at all as he complained in the corner?
No, he hasn't said one word all the way through. He's boxing at his level best, you know.
Be first, John. Be first.
Well, straight from the horse's mouth, as it were, a tip-off in what's happening in the corner there. That's how the pros assess that fight. It's always easy to judge from outside the ring, isn't it, on just what you would do if you were up there. Well, there's no doubt about it. The fellow who said that the ring is the loneliest place in the world is quite right. Because that's where the pressures really are. Players running up the tunnel or a fellow freezing on the last putt. I really don't get that. When that first bell goes and the fellow in the other corner is coming out to break your chin, that's when the pressure really counts. Lopez just tending to get a bit ragged with those punches, isn't he? Probably the distance is his trouble. Lopez, as we come up to the last 10, almost, of this round, has really got to put the pressure on now to try and steal this from the champion. Although I should add that after some of the decisions that we've seen on the continent, and there's a lot of people thought with Ali Norton, anything can happen and probably will. It's almost an emotional experience, isn't it, for a fighter to have to sit on the sidelines like that, having legal wrangles and broken hands. It certainly is a tough comeback. And into the 14th round, scheduled, of course, for 15. So anybody that thought Lopez was picked as a pushover for Conteh has been wrong. And you can see that Lopez knew what it was all about. And the Dane's really playing it neutral here. I suppose if you pay £50 for a seat, you don't really feel you should stand on your feet and scream your head off. And of course, a rows there of the British sports writers and photographers covering this fight. Conteh's handsome profile suffering just a bit with that swelling around the right eye. But just one of those occupational hazards. That's a bit dangerous as they've clashed again. And it would be a pity to see Lopez cut and possibly stop with an accidental head clash like that. It's signs of tiredness, I think, when they lean on each other like that. Conteh just not able to put his punches together in clusters as he does when he's really at peak form. It could well be, of course, that Lopez won't allow Conteh to look at his best. Probably we're underestimating the challenge here. He's an awkward customer, comes to fight a bit. There's no shortage of punches in the 14th round. Continual use of the left hand, that's what's keeping Conteh ahead. Another Danish model brightening up the night for us to show you the 15th round. A bit disconcerting to the boxers, I would think. No wonder they keep the second standing in front of them. There's a rather gory close-up, isn't it, of Lopez's left eyebrow being treated. Wanted to be a bullfighter, this fellow, but when he was 12, he came second to the bull and moved over the border into California, became a farmer, courted B. Cruz, whose father happened to be a fight manager, and that was how he signed both a fight contract and a wedding contract. And Conteh's corner trying to spur him on to give him a good last round, and referee Druce from Germany there making sure that both boxers are aware that the handshakes procedure's got to go through in the last round. They're just touch gloves, no doubt, and that's about all they'll get. Almost like the pleasantries that a dentist offers you before he puts you in the chair. So it's the 15th round. And after the decision, hopefully we'll get a quick word with Conteh on how he feels about this performance. Win, lose or draw, as they say. But of course, Conteh's punches have been cleaner, more of them, more on target. But it's far from the runaway win that people expected, isn't it? Bob Foster and Victor Galindez are feeling as they're watching Conteh here, saying, we want to get in there with him. Certainly Victor Galindez was a bit naughty before the fight, really giving Conteh a touch of the verbals. See, there's still some power left in that Conteh right hand. He's taken a few more chances with it in the last round. Look at that, doubling up with the left hand. This is as good as I've seen Conteh box for a long time. This is the sort of stuff that won him junior and amateur senior titles. So with 1 minute to go in this light heavyweight championship of the world from Copenhagen, Conteh a little bit puffed around the face, but always seeking to pile those points up. I'll sort the mathematics out at the end of this one. So, of course, it happens to be a knockdown near the bell here. The bell would, in fact, interrupt the count. And certainly Conteh now has left it too late for a spectacular knockout. And he's got to hope that the referee and judges have seen the fight the same as everybody else, and that includes you. Well, there's a sense of relief, I suspect, there from Conteh. 15 hard enough rounds. Members of the family coming in the ring to console him, knowing the stress that he must have been through for 14 months. As they wait now for these fractions to be sorted out. There is good close-up of the champion.
John Conteh.
So that's it, John Conteh retains his World Light Heavyweight Championship. I'll see if I can get a word with him.
There's a little bit more there, I think, tonight. But it was a great fight, and I was in great condition. I felt as if I was lacking a little bit of ring sharpness.
Yeah.
And I thought I could have been a little bit sharper. Whereas I could have been boxing, I had to rely on sort of pure stamina, you know, and conditioning instead of sort of snappy boxing.
Yeah. So it's a little bit below your peak, but nonetheless you're satisfied.
No,
considering the stress.
you know, really made up.
Fight. He needed
It was a 15-round fight, and it's the first one, as you know, for about 18 months.
Has the right hand stood up okay?
The right hand was fine. The left hand was just giving me a little bit of a twinge, but nothing serious. You know, as you can imagine, I was using this most of the time. I was hardly throwing the right. I think because, you know, subconsciously I was thinking it was injured, or I didn't want to injure it, you know.
Well, John, I know it was hard work for you. The fellow put up a very good show, Lopez, and it's been wonderful to see you retaining the championship for Britain.
Thanks, Wes. That was one of my toughest fights, you know. Him and Armada. These lads are really tough, like, you know.
Yeah.
I feel as if I'm learning a lot.